It's about to get Gabby AF.
We about to get Gabby AF, Gabby AF. We about to get Gabby AF, Gabby AF.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gabby AF. I did promise another one of my favorite women to be joining this week, and I'm so lucky to have gotten her on. She's had a busy schedule. We've been trying, and I would love to welcome Gail Kim to Gabby AF. Hello, Gail. How are you today?
I'm so happy we finally made the time and found a mutual time to make this work because it's literally been months.
It's been so long. You were one of like the first guests I really wanted, and I remember I reached out to you like months ago, and you were like, "Listen, I promise, like I'm doing this and that," and I'm like, "You don't have to explain. Like I know you're doing a lot, so like you're good."
Even stepped away from the wrestling world and did a little side project, which I will be able to talk about probably in about a month, I think. But so I was away with like no phone and yeah.
I know it was funny because your phone's like always on do not disturb, which a lot. So I'm like always, and I honestly I have friends that put their phone on do not disturb and they're like, oh, just text me anyway, like whatever. So like I ignore it, and then I remember I would send you text and I'd be like, oh fuck, it's on do not disturb. Like she probably hates me because God knows what she's
on constant, because I feel like every time I turn on and Robert, my husband, is always like, turn on your phone. I'm like, babe, I'm so sorry, it's on silent. Because every time I go to turn it off silent, it's like interrupting and being noisy somewhere. I'm like, just put it back on silence.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you're a busy woman. Like I completely understand. I spent a little bit of time in TNA. I loved it, by the way, when I was there, and you were so great, like directing me and telling me how to do things on stage. Cause that was like the first time I had been in front of a live crowd too, doing that segment that I did with Ash. And she was so amazing. Yeah. And I will say, and I've said this when I've had other, female TNA talent on the show, that locker room and like the bond that you guys have with each other is something that is so unique to me in the space. So, I mean, talk about that a little bit, obviously in TNA, just like how close you guys are. You're always doing videos together. It really just looks like you're all best friends, like one big family.
I think the whole roster is like that. But of course, I would say the stereotypical thing that not men, but people might think is when you bring a lot of ladies together that it can become catty. And I guess it can in some circumstances, but I think, it really does start with leadership and the kind of environment that you want to breed and have for everyone. And I just think, just trying to be as leadership, trying to be fair to everyone, make everyone feel good about the hard work that they do and giving them that positive reinforcement. And of course, being critical, of course, to make them better, and them accepting all those things. It's just, I don't know, we've always had it. And I'm just glad because every time, say, a girl comes in or a guy comes in to try out with us, that I would say 100% of the time, the feedback is, oh my God, I love this locker room so much. I want to be back. It's just so much fun. And I'm just so happy when any wrestler can come into our locker room and just say, I had the best time. I felt so comfortable. I could be myself. It's just like a fun work environment. And ultimately, that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I think that's a testament to everybody behind the scenes at TNA that like really makes sure that that's the environment and the atmosphere, because I'm sure that's not the case everywhere. And obviously in the women's division, in the knockouts division of TNA, like that's kind of your territory. So that's just a testament to you and what you want to bring to work every single day. So, I mean, it's kind of amazing. Like you said, the word comfortable, and you can't ask for anything else in a work environment to really be positive in that sense.
Ultimately when girls come in, I know they're going to be nervous. This is their one shot. Right. So I always try to tell them, listen, I want you to feel comfortable. This is your impression that you're going to be making on us today. So if you don't feel comfortable with anything that we're talking about or suggesting, please tell me, because there's a million other things we can do that you're very good at. So don't feel obligated to be like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. I want them to do everything to the best of their ability. And I always tell them, no question is dumb. Like, I know, because I've been through it all, right? So I've been through it all. So I'm going to ask this question, it might come out dumb, or I don't want to feel like I feel like I don't know something. And so I always try to just put them at ease so that they're at their most confident state.
Yeah, I mean that's an amazing mindset to go into with it, because I mean obviously you've been there, so you know kind of the feeling of being new or the first time, or also people might be intimidated to ask you because you are such a veteran in this, and they're like, I don't want her to think I'm taking advantage, or I have a question and I look stupid. So I
Yeah.
mean that's amazing that that's what you do there, and I think it shows in the matches, in the product, because I mean I think the TNA Knockouts division is just one of the best divisions of women's wrestling that you can watch right now. And
Yeah.
I love this crossover between TNA and NXT. I think it's kind of awesome to see it every week and back and forth between each company. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you were shown there when Jordynne showed up at NXT. Like, what was that moment like for you? And kind of talk a little bit about Jordynne, because I feel like this has really been her year in taking over for things, and she's such a dynamo in what she does. So, I mean, talk about your relationship with her and kind of, her as the face of the women's TNA division right now.
Yeah. When she came into this company, it was years ago. And I remember her just like really having no emotion really when she came out there. And I knew everyone knew she had the potential.
Right.
And I didn't really even know how to read her personality at the beginning, because sometimes that can take a process, a little getting to know each other and getting what their quirks are, and at first. And then so I was saying, the only thing you're just kind of missing is like that emotional attachment to the crowd. And one day she just kind of ended up having this emotional outburst, I would say, that was very natural, and the crowd reacted to it, and I heard it and she heard it. And then she came backstage and I'm like, did you hear that? Did you know when that happened? I'm like, just keep on doing that. And she literally did it from that point on. And sometimes people don't, or they're nervous to let themselves go free with their emotion, because they're like, oh, I look stupid or I feel stupid. And, having that fire. And she just kind of developed from there. And she had a body transformation. She's put in the work. She's one, I always see a lot of talent come through, a talent turnover in rosters. And I know when someone has that hard work ethic and is willing to sacrifice and put in the work. And to me, that means so much. Like, some people can have natural talent and come in, or to me, the total package matters to me, and will go a long way with me behind the scenes. If you act like a professional, as well as in the ring, if you carry yourself with that hard work ethic and that sacrifice, like, you're prepared when you walk in, you're there when we ask, for meet and greets, whatever it may be, everything matters to me, how you carry yourself behind the scenes and in that ring. And she does it all. And, when she had that Royal Rumble appearance, that was a huge deal, and it couldn't have gone better for her. And I mean, she really has earned her top girl status with us. She talks the talk and she walks the walk, and she deserves everything that she has today.
Yeah,
she really does.
I mean, and she's so also like vocal on social media, which is something I like about her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just an act and then she like hides until her next appearance. Like, you see her personality on social media, and she is like kind of a badass bitch. She like stands up for what she stands up for, and she doesn't take any shit. And like, I love that about her, because I've been lucky to meet her in person, and she's such a sweetheart and she's so kind, but like, don't fuck with her, which like I like. Do you know what I mean? Like, you watch her on TV and you're like, that's someone I would want my daughter to like look up to, in a sense, to be like, she doesn't like take any, BS and toxicity on social media. And like, I think that that's a cool thing for her. And I think that's something to add to what she does, because not all wrestlers do that either. They kind of show up on TV and then they're not as vocal, but like she does not take any crap from anybody. So
she doesn't. And honestly, she doesn't have an ego.
Right.
And she could, and she doesn't. And that's just so refreshing as well. She's just got a huge heart, and she's just doing everything right now. So all the success that she has right now, she deserves.
Yeah. Well,
and as a producer, she is just, we always like those talents that are consistent and reliable. And we've gotten to the point where it's just like an easy relationship between her and I as producer and talent. We trust each other. I don't really need to adjust things so much or tweak things so much because we have this trust, and she knows when I'll be like,
Yeah.
and she'll kind of laugh, and I'll be like, she knows how I feel about things.
Right.
She knows how my mind works. It's gotten to that point, and I like that. I like the relationship that we've formed at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's really special to like kind of not have to say words and know what each other are kind
Yeah.
of thinking. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I really like that.
Well, and speaking on the other end of it, someone coming after her is obviously someone I've also had the pleasure of working with, and that's Ash by Elegance.
Yes.
Which I still don't, Ash, if you're listening, I don't know what Elegance means. Is that your last name?
Yes.
It's some brand or lifestyle that I don't.
It is a brand.
It's a brand.
I think people don't understand that. It's Ash by
Elegance. Right.
Elegance is almost like as if she's sponsored by, or I don't know, like
Elegance sponsors her, I think. Yeah.
Yes,
She
exactly.
literally nailed the microphone into my chest when I forgot to say it. So listen, I'll never make that mistake again, Ash. Still don't know what it means, but you're doing great. I'm just kidding.
She's a tough girl.
Yeah. I mean, but she's kind of inserted herself even from the NXT. She had to show up and cause all this havoc, and like they've been having some good matches together. And I do like this feud a little bit. What are we gonna see? She, speaking of social media, she loves to talk shit on social media. She's come after me a couple times.
Does too.
Yeah.
He's the most annoying thing. You know what? Actually, she is just. I will say she has that hard work ethic again. So I have the respect for her in that regard. And I know a lot of people know we tape our shows, but there is a match coming up between her and Jordynne that I actually can't wait for everyone to see. You talk about sometimes these magical moments or these highlights that wrestlers are always. I know when I reach this magical moment, say like with Kong, it was always that you want to achieve that again. You're chasing that magical moment again. And I feel like they had in Tampa, a match. I just can't wait for everyone to see. Yeah, it was a banger.
That's my favorite word.
I think people are going to have their socks blown off for sure.
Wow. All right. Well, everyone better watch that then, because I'll be talking about it probably right after on my next episode. So we'll have to talk about that. Speaking of NXT and all these kinds of things happening, is there anyone, because you've been there a couple times, obviously supporting Jordynne and watching, her match against Roxanne, which I thought was amazing. Also, Roxanne is someone that you've had a lot of experience, I'm sure, in like, talk a little bit about her, just because like I think that what she's doing is just amazing, and I think that she is such the future in women's wrestling. She's just one of those talents, and I know you've had experience working with her and stuff, so talk a little bit about her as well.
So I got to produce her one match when she was in TNA. She did the ROH women's title against Deanna in the main event for Impact, and that match in itself, I was just like, I got goosebumps just thinking about it. And I actually saw her last night because I go to NXT because we have talent there,
right? And
I have to drive up every week to just be there as a TNA representative. And I saw her last night, and I never really got to talk to her since I saw her match at Great American Bash 2 weeks ago. And they were the main event, and they just killed it. And I just told her, I was like, that match, chef's kiss, and I just obviously love women's wrestling, and those two they laid it all out there. They had match of the night to me, 100%. She is a natural, obviously. What's her moniker? That she's the
prodigy, right?
What's her moniker? The prodigy, yes. I mean, she lives up to the name.
Yeah.
I mean, she really does. I can't wait to see what she does on the main roster. I mean, I would think that it's about that time soon.
Right.
There's a lot of girls there. They have so much talent. Some of these girls are just so super athletic. Love to see a bunch of them mix it up with the knockouts.
Well, that's what I was good. That was my next question.
Yeah, we had a couple of them come by. Izzy came by. Tatum and Jordynne had a killer match when they wrestled each other. I really like her. Just a lot of potential there. I was talking to Wendy Chu the other day. I was like, I would love to have Wendy Chu come over.
Yeah.
Maybe have a little match with Rosemary, a little dark character and dark.
Wow, I would actually love that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be cool. Listen, we're very open. I think fans get excited when they can see a little bit of possibility of these little dream matches that we couldn't have before in the past before this relationship. So it's exciting.
It's definitely exciting. I know even like Triple H talked a little bit about the collab and like how they're loving it on both ends, and it's not just one way or the other, and it's going to continue for a little bit, and there will be ones that like you're more excited about. Is there a possibility, or for you even, fantasy matchup even beyond NXT main roster wise, women that you would like to see against Jordynne in like a fantasy match? Because I know I have some, of course, but like I want to know yours and see if ours align.
I mean, there's so many, but I think the one that's been talked about so much was Natty, at one point. Because Natty's so supportive of TNA, and her and TJ, I mean, their lives are wrestling. On their days off, they've got a wrestling school. I'm like, how do you do all this wrestling all the time?
Right.
They're just like, they live, breathe, and sleep wrestling. And so that's someone, Natty, that I always, I've been friends with her for a long time. I would love the opportunity to just work with her again, to be honest, because I had that little blip on the radar and as talent, but I would love to produce her. I don't think she needs much producing, but it would be fun because I adore her and TJ so much. They're just like special friends to me. So I would love to see her get her flowers.
Oh, I know. She's like one of the greatest of all time. Like she really is going to go down when she's retired and done with what she's doing. She's really going to be one of those names that you like look back and like she was like a legend for the women's division for sure. And not only women, because they train like men. Like Joe Hendry was at their school when he was there for like NXT and stuff. Oh, and obviously we have to talk about Joe Hendry. You can't mention the NXT TNA stuff without Joe Hendry. I mean, it's getting a little insane. I'm like it's so funny to me because he's the quintessential like make your own way of what you're doing, because he's been doing it for so long and he did something that stuck, and he's just so over every, I think people are watching sometimes just for him and what he's doing. So, I mean, obviously talk a little bit about him because he's such a game changer, I think, in this crossover between NXT and TNA.
Well, just as I spoke about like how I hold people to higher regard in some ways from their work ethic and the sacrifice. And, people forget how long Joe Hendry's been wrestling. And I was just talking about it last night at NXT actually. And some people were saying, there's this guy that I know through friends, and he goes, I didn't even know Joe's been wrestling this long. I go, I wrestled with Joe in TNA, like, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, somewhere around there. And back then it was just like, Joe wasn't Joe Hendry. I mean, he was, but he wasn't who he is today. And then he went to TNA, then he went to ROH, and then he kind of like fell off the radar a little bit. And you know what? Joe created himself. He's like, I'm going to bet on myself. I know what works in wrestling. Kind of reminds me of John Cena back in his rapping days, is just like this guy that took a natural ability and understood what was going to get over with the fans and just made it grow and grow and grow. And that guy, again, another guy who's just no ego, just a great guy who you're rooting for. And I think the fans can see that, fans can see through these, they feel genuine aura, genuine emotions about people. And I think that's what they feel with Joe. And, he unprecedented that he's working for TNA and NXT, basically almost like full-time talent for both. He deserves it, and even with TNA, I know that he was just like, I'll fly myself there. At the beginning, from what I heard, the story was when Scott was here, they were like, I'll fly myself in. I'm going to show you what I got. I'm going to bet on myself. And then after that, if you think you want to keep me, then let's do it. And then look how it's turned out. I mean, he really ultimately did bet on himself.
Wow. That's kind of awesome that you said that about him, because that makes him even more relatable, because it's like, I'm just going to show you what I can do.
Yeah. I have nothing but respect for that guy.
And it's funny you mentioned Cena, because I had Joe on my show right before he made his like NXT debut or whatever. And he mentioned how he had like a phone call with Cena when he was like 15 years old. And
oh, really?
Yes, he had that's why his dream match is Cena, because someone was with Cena and he was like a teenager, and he picked up the phone and had like a 10-minute conversation with John Cena about how much he loves him and like all this kind of stuff. So he said with Cena's, retirement tour that's happening at through 2025, like he would love to have a match with Cena because that would be like such a full circle moment for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, at this rate,
I could see it happening.
Right? All right, if there's anything you guys know about me, you know how much I love pizza. It's not even a question. It's my favorite food in the world. Gabby LaSpisa loves her pizza. And being from the Pizza Belt, I'm very selective with how I take my pie, which I've also spoken about. Chef founder Chris Wallace started Ozzy's in his home kitchen back in 2021 with the hopes of bringing his hometown's pizza to Los Angeles. Co-owner and fellow New Havener, Craig Taylor, joined Ozzy's in 2022, and the rest, as they say, is history. Pizza history, if you will. Brought together by their shared love of metal, comedy, pro wrestling, of course, and beats, they have made it their mission to bring the thin, crispy, well-done style they've always loved to the City of Angels. Now, you guys know I wouldn't just be talking about pizza if it wasn't good pizza. So if you have not tried Ozzy's Pizza, you are 100% missing out. So go and get some Ozzy's Pizza and thank me later. Gabby LaSpisa with the pizza. Mwah. Right?
Just between the relationship and knowing John's a good guy, and I think he would give the rub to someone. Not that Joe needs a rub right now, but I mean that would be John Cena rub, though.
Right?
For that to happen, I could see it happening all the way around because I know John's like one of those guys that would do that.
I would love them to just have like a musical battle, like bring back that old. Imagine.
I would love it.
Do it on TNA. I'll just write for you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I got you.
I think WWE's got dibs on that.
Yeah. No, I wish.
I wish. Simultaneously broadcasting.
Well, I mean, they promoted his whole concert in NXT for Hendry, and I was like, wow. I mean, listen, I'm watching that part because Hendry's doing a concert. Like, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like what he's doing. And, I think people are loving the crossover of like, who's going to show up and want to fight Jordynne at these TNA shows, and there's, like you said, the roster for NXT 2 is so deep in like the talent and the athleticism. So every time someone shows up too, I think people are pleasantly surprised in how good the matches are. Yeah. And I think that's just cool. And that's a testament to Jordynne as well, that she could get in the ring and just mix it up with any of these people and shine, because that's what she's doing every time.
You can wrestle a broomstick, the saying, you can wrestle a broomstick. Yeah. And that's, she's reached that status.
the Jordynne Grace broomstick match, I would love to see it. She can make something out of nothing. Yeah. I would love to see her and Jade, because they're both just so... When she was in the Rumble and they had that stare down, I'm like still kind of waiting for that moment to happen, because I just think that they would kick the shit out of each other and it would be awesome. I
would love to see that match too. That would be pretty impressive. Just their physical stature would be impressive.
Just beating each other up. Like, I just like to see those kinds of things, because I'm like, I just want to see people beat the shit out of each other. But you mentioned Natty, and something interesting you said was like, oh, of course Natty and Jordynne would be great, but like, I don't know. Are you done in the ring, Gail? I would want to see you and Natty together if that's ever a possibility.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this, but at the end of last year, we were talking about now, because it's not going to happen. I can talk about it. We were talking about having me and Mickey tag, get into the tag division to kind of just help boost the Knockouts tag division. And it's just the timing wasn't right. It was supposed to be for the beginning of this year. And so Nick was kind of going into WWE as Mickey was taking a step back. And so it wasn't working timing wise. And then I had suggested maybe me and Natty, right? So I was trying to work with that cross promotion as well. But then once all the management changes happened at the beginning of this year, I honestly took on so much that I just can't see it happening with the roles that I have backstage. And the longer you don't wrestle for, it just becomes more difficult. And to be honest, I care about my body of work so much. If I was going to get in the ring as talent, I have to give it my all. Yeah. I mean, I would literally probably have to drop almost everything I do backstage. And honestly, it's so much. I don't know who would fill those roles. So I just don't see it logistically happening. Of course, it would be a dream to do it with the right scenario. Like the whole Mickey tag thing was a dream scenario.
Right.
I accepted at that point, so it was gonna happen, but now it just can't, right? So, and I truly believe everything's meant to be. I feel like God's telling me, okay, Gail, you know, you left it at the 1000th episode. Everything's hunky dory. I'm happy with my body of work. Maybe I'm just meant to help lead backstage, and I'm okay with that.
Wow.
I'm
So
okay with that, you know?
yeah. So if that anniversary show was your last time in the ring, you're good with that and moving on?
I mean, I think I am. Yeah, I think I am. I've come to a lot of peace with that. I feel like I have a different role in the business. I'm 47 years old. You know, it's
You don't
like,
look 47.
you know, at what point do you literally cut it off?
Yeah.
Right. And I never want the fans to ever see me sloppy, slowed down. And that's why I retired ultimately. I was like, my back was wearing out so bad that I was like, I don't want the fans to see me slow down.
Right.
I don't want them to have that last memory of me being not at my best. So I would rather have my memories all be nice and pretty.
Yeah.
In the way that I feel good, you know, so.
Well, I mean, that moment too at that anniversary, because I was there live.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Like that, when you showed up to, first of all, you were amazing in the ring. Like I obviously I knew you were going to be, but just this, how special it was. And then, you know, obviously Awesome Kong was there as well. And Mickey showed back up, and it was just like, for the Knockouts division, that was such a special night. And
really was.
there was just so many good things happening that, like, I wouldn't even blame you. Like, I think that was almost like a beautiful cherry on top of this beautiful career you had.
It really was.
So, like, I
And
don't
at first, when they were saying 5-on-5, I go, we're gonna do a 10-girl tag.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this one's like kind of a shit show.
Right.
But once we started doing that, we had an in-ring segment to start the whole show. So we started the show, and then we ended on the main event, which was special. And I remember while the in-ring segment was going on, and as each girl came in to cut their little promo, you know, the beautiful people came and the Kong and all. I remember going to, I said to Velvet and Angel in there, I was like, this is so iconic right now. It feels so good. I feel like and I thought I was going to be nervous, but my adrenaline just went through the roof. And I remember talking to the girls going, I don't know how rusty I'm going to be, you know, but I was just so confident in there. It's just crazy how good I felt. It was just really, really special. And the crowd was just amazing.
They were so behind you guys. I remember, so I was watching that match backstage, and this was like, literally, I don't know what move you did. You like did some jump off the top rope or flip. I don't know names of things. And I was watching with a bunch of the men backstage, and they were audibly gasping, like, holy shit, Gail. Like, oh my God. Like, they were shocked at like what was happening in the ring. And I remember, I don't remember who said it, and this is probably my fault because it was probably someone good, but they were like, this is like a match for history. This is like the match. Like, this could be like a match of the year kind of thing of what happened, and just how many legends were in it all together, and just what you guys were doing. It was so special, and the crowd was so into it. It's like, that has to be the most amazing feeling ever. Like, I couldn't imagine.
It really was. I mean, honestly, I feel like I was just happy for Kong.
Yeah.
Because like she got the win. She hadn't been in the ring for so long. It was very emotional, and I just wanted it to go, I mean, perfectly for all the girls ultimately, but I just have a special little part of my heart for Kong.
Yeah, you guys have a very special relationship. It's very clear.
I just wanted her to be happy.
Yeah.
And just feel like closure, you know. That was her last time in the ring.
Well, I love that. And I mean, if it never happens, a tag between you and Mickey, I'm almost mad you told me, because now I'm like, fuck, I really want that. Well, because I
thought it was a cool idea.
I mean, it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, everyone listening to this is probably like, fuck, now I want to see it, because like that would have been epic.
So, but yeah. It was just because like our division, you know, at the tag division wasn't getting a lot of attention at that time. And I think we're like whittling down to like 2 tag teams, and you can't do a tag division with 2 tag teams. And so that's what we're working on rebuilding now. And like at the end of the year, that was the plan, to kind of help build it, you know, kind of help legitimize it, and then help the younger generation along with that. So
it's just so amazing, because we talked a little about Mickey before the show, because obviously we're very close with her, but like she is very similar. Like, I kind of put you guys in that box of women that like to elevate other women and it's not about you all the time, which
Yes.
that's a very rare thing because some people are like, oh, we'll do a good match, but like I'm putting myself over because
Yeah.
I'm the star. And you and Mickey are so not like that, and you do those
Yeah.
kinds of things to put over newer, like younger talent, because you're like, no, I'm good. Like this is for you and this is what I want to present. And I think that's amazing. And obviously you're close friends with Mickey as well, but that's an epic team of the two of you together, because Mickey is just like you in that sense. She's such a good person, and
Yeah.
that's what you
So
guys
when I
do.
got to work with her for her show Empower, I noticed, I was like, we have the same taste in talent, like who we see as potential up and coming stars. And because sometimes people, wrestling is a very subjective thing.
Mhm.
So everybody has different tastes in who they like, who their favorite wrestler is, who they see potential in. But Mickey and I have always kind of been on the same page in regards to that.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I think we both see the benefit of like giving back and helping the women's divisions grow and just evolve. And her holding Empower, and that was like the first female all women's
Mhm.
pay-per-view, like, literally led by a female. That was just incredible, and to be a part of it, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better experience. It was really emotional. It was fun, for them to grab Kong and surprise everyone for her retirement announcement. It really came full circle. I'm glad, even though it wasn't done in a TNA ring because of all our history, I was really happy that it happened for Mickey's show, and
Right.
to have a special moment for that. It just felt really just fulfilling.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about these moments, and I'm trying to get this out of you because Mickey showed up at the Rumble, Jordynne showed up at the Rumble. Looking ahead to Royal Rumble, which it will be here sooner than you think. I can't believe it's already August, because I'm like,
Right.
this year is just flying.
Yeah.
Who are, obviously Jordynne is the face of Knockouts right now, but you see the talent of the women in TNA every single day. Like,
Yeah.
are there some people we should be keeping our eyes on for this year? Are we trying to, this is what I'm going to do, because I love hearing this from you, because I trust your
Right.
opinion on these. Like, who are some of these, maybe these girls flying under the radar that we should be like,
Well, I definitely feel like we've got a good base of knockouts right now, but we do need a little bit more knockouts, and we're working on that. And I think in the next couple months you're gonna see some additions happen, which I think the fans are gonna love. I feel like, who I was really looking forward to seeing this year, but she got injured at the end of last year, was Kylan King.
Yes.
She was literally voted by the fans, not just the knockout to be looking out for in 2024, but she was like the star to be looking out for in 2024.
Yeah.
And she's been injured most of this year. So I think her return is going to be hopefully kind of soon. I know she's still recovering. Maybe at the end of this year, I'm praying for, but I am super excited for Kylan to come back. I hope she comes. I know every time I was injured, I came back more improved, stronger, better, because all I did was sit at home and itch and wait and watch everyone doing what I loved. So it just made me more go-getter,
Yeah. Yeah. Determined. Yeah.
So I hope she's got that. It feels like it. I've checked in on her a few times, and she's anxious, but I just want her. I said, just don't rush it, because I don't want you to re-injure yourself. And we got a great number of girls that are really strong, and everyone has kind of like their own strengths and things they bring to the table. Like every time Tasha Steelz goes out there, everyone backstage, every producers that works with her for years are like, oh my God, she just pops on screen. She's got so much flavor, and I'm like, I know. We're always like bopping to her entrance. I'm like, wait, we're supposed to be booing her. She's a heel.
Yeah. No, it's so true. Yeah.
Things like that. And Giselle's come a really long way. Her work has been really consistent lately. Just Ash, even I love all the character work she's been doing and what she's bringing to the table. And I think, like I said, this match coming up, she's going to blow people's socks off. And, we always have people like Masha Slamovich, who just like kills it out there wherever she goes. And I'm excited to see what she's got next. And I think also like people like Alisha Edwards that people love to hate, and they don't even know what to expect from her. That girl has the most heat out of anyone I've ever seen. Out of all the knockouts, sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't even hear what she's saying because the heat and the boos are so loud.
Yeah.
And I think people realize that that's actually like a gift of hers, you know, because they just love to hate her. I think everyone's got strengths. I'm really excited to see what's coming up soon, and I want the fans to be excited too, because I think we're gonna start having some new little additions.
That's exciting. Even like Isaiah Brookside is someone I worked with in that segment too, and I
Zaya.
love her. Like I think
Love
her potential is huge in what they're doing. I'm happy you mentioned Kylan because I do love her so much, and I've been like patiently awaiting her return. Like I'm like, oh, you know, get better, because like I want to see you back, because she was the one where I was like, that's the one that I think's going to be like a breakout star, because she has star potential written all over her. Injuries happen, but I think she will come back a million times stronger. It's so funny you mentioned Alisha, because she is so, the heat on her is insane. And backstage, she's one of like, she's one of the first people I met when I was working Women's Wrestling Army with Maria Kanellis. And like Alisha was just, I was like, that was my first backstage interviewing thing. Like I didn't know anybody, and I was just like, whatever. And we were sitting in the line, and I tell everyone the story about Alisha because this is who she really is. We were sitting in the line for makeup, and she looks at me and she's like, you're the interviewer, right? And I was like, yeah. So she goes, what are you waiting for? And I go, what do you mean? Like I put my name on the list, like to wait in line. She goes, absolutely not. She literally takes the marker, crosses out the next person, writes my name, and she makes an announcement to all the girls. She's like, this is the interviewer. This is who's going to be on with us every single time. She goes next. She's in front of all of you. And she looks at me and she was like, you go next. Don't let they don't go in front of you. Like you go, like you're the most important person to do these kind of things. And I was like, okay, so scared of her. But like, also I was like, okay, so she's like my mom now, I guess. Like, I'm just going to cling to her. And like, we did a bunch of interviews together. And when I tell you, Maria was like, that's like you and Alisha together are fucking hilarious, because that's just who she is. And she's such a good person. Like you could just tell she takes care of everyone. Like she's just really.
That is exactly her. She's the girl that brings everyone together. Like, oh, it's someone's birthday. Like, let's get. I don't want to tell too many good stories about her, because everyone's gonna be like, oh, she's
nice. We're gonna ruin it. She's gonna be pissed. She's gonna call me after this and be like, why are you telling people I'm nice?
I know. And when you meet her, she's just so like, there's nothing fake about her. Right. What she thinks, there's no filter. She's gonna say things, and that's what I think ultimately what made me attracted to her as a friend as well.
Yeah,
is that I love people who are direct, and there's no, you know, there's nothing to hide.
Yeah,
I'm so direct as a person. I love when someone's direct with me, because then I know what I'm getting, because you're just telling me as it is.
Right.
That's her. Just like she said, cross the line, get her to the front of the line. That is her. She's a workhorse. I don't think people realize she is a workhorse, and I don't think even people realize how much she does behind the scenes for us now. She does a lot. So she's talent, but she's also does a lot of marketing stuff, and there's a lot about Alisha that people don't know.
Yeah, well, I'll have to get her on one day and really really dissect into her, because we could just talk about her, and then she's gonna call me and be like, what are you talking about? Did you say anything bad about me? Because I heard my name. But the directness is a Jersey thing. That's why I like her too, because it just like is. That's why I like you, because you're the same way, even though you're not from Jersey. I think you should be. I've said this.
Some people can't handle it, but I can't help myself. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's the best way to be. That's why we get along, Gail.
Yeah, I think so. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I could talk to you for like 2 hours. I really could, and like just about to, like I wanted to talk to you about your husband because I love food, and you were like, I mean, we could talk about Robert, but I try to keep it as
about Robert. He doesn't cook. It's the same question for Lee. I'm like, he doesn't cook. I cook all the time. You know, we've been together for like 15 years at this point. Wow. It went by so fast. I know.
That's a long time. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah. And listen, what I love about him ultimately is that he just supports my independence, but he's like my rock when I really need that support. Besides my girlfriends, he is my rock. I mean, I don't know what I would do without him. He makes me stronger. He supports everything. I mean, he's taught me so much too. It's just everything I have ever wanted in a partner. He's my soulmate for real. You know, it really is everything that marriage should be.
That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard, by the way. I can't. That's like adorable. I'm very single, so when I hear things like that, I'm like, there's hope for people. Maybe I got to go after the chefs. I don't know, because these wrestlers aren't cutting it.
I actually have a couple of single friends. I'm gonna have to set you up,
Gail. That could
Yes.
be its own show. I'm just letting you know if you really want to. Like that's on you now.
Blind date with Gabby or Gabby's blind date.
Oh my God. A blind date? See, I've never been on a blind date before. I would actually be scared for a blind date. I would trust you if you did it, honestly, though. It would take somebody like you for me to trust because you.
Yeah.
All right, well, if they're a chef, I would just do. If they make good food, I'm already
You know,
in.
these two that I'm thinking in my mind are not chefs, but they work with Robert, but in different fields.
Okay.
But, ooh, actually, I'm like excited about this.
Wow.
We'll have to talk online,
Well,
offline.
Offline, we'll have to talk about it. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to hang out when you come to New York and
Yes, for sure.
have these conversations.
Yes.
All right. So before we end, I always ask everyone kind of, looking ahead to the year of 2024. Obviously we talked a lot about what you're doing behind the scenes of TNA and how amazing it's been. Like, what are your goals for yourself and TNA by the end of this year? What would you like to see?
Oh, by the end of this year, I'm not sure if it's going to happen by the end of this year because we've gone through a lot of changes this year. More than anything, just we've adapted to all these changes very well. We've been on a forward momentum. I just want to grow from there. Like I said, I had a weird special side project I did this year, which I'm really excited about. And it actually really was a life-changing experience for me, which is so strange, but it was. And I'll talk about that. Maybe I'll come back on the show and talk about that after. But I just really ride the wave of where it's going. I truly believe I'm one of those people that believe everything that happens is like whatever falls in my path is meant to be. And I just kind of go with that flow. I don't know. Everything's been so good. I've had a very blessed life. I'm so lucky. I'm just so lucky and grateful for everything that I've ever been able to achieve and have the opportunity to do. Oh,
that was such a sweet answer. Every time I get these answers, because I ask always, because like I want you to look back and be like, see if you could check it off the box, or we talked about this, and then I'll get you on next year, and it's like, did that happen? But like your answer is so beautiful because it's just very humble and honest.
Everything's been happening the way that I couldn't even imagine. And ever since this year changed with this management change, I'm not going to lie, this new management has empowered me so much. Like I've never been empowered before. I thought that I was making strides in the wrestling world. I've never felt as uplifted as I have this year.
Wow.
I mean, not only has this management talked the talk, they've walked the walk, just like I talked about with Jordynne, like everything. Not only do they say, they want me to grow within this company, they've given me that ball to run with it. And I've felt it and I'm doing it. And I've never felt so much growth within the wrestling business so quickly as I have this year. It's been incredible. I feel very respected and valued for the first time in a long time.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing to say. That's kind of amazing. And that makes me happy for you because you're very deserving of those things.
Thank you.
So, wow, that was such a good answer. That makes me happy. I just like when I see my friends doing amazing things that I get to be blessed enough to call you a friend and someone who's supportive of me. And then, you always check in, which is a beautiful thing. You're always like, oh, very helpful. So I love that for you, and I love you, and I appreciate you coming on.
I love you, and I'll do anything to support you and your podcast, and whatever I have to do. I tell the other. I think everyone would see your product is good, and so they'll want to be part of this. But like we said, helping each other out, and for the good people in this world, I think we just gotta help each other out and pass it along, and do the good deed for one another, and it just helps everyone succeed, really, ultimately.
Yeah, listen, my phone's always open if you need me back to do anything in TNA. I'm just saying, I don't know who's in charge there, but I think it's you. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'm
Dreamer's on the creative team.
Listen, oh God, Tommy Dreamer. I can't with him. By the way. We could have an hour-long discussion about Tommy fucking Dreamer because I just can't. He'll text me, and I'm sure for you too. Listen, Tommy, I love you to death. You're a friend. He doesn't listen to my show. Why would he? You know what I mean? He doesn't. He'll unknowingly come on and be like, I don't listen. I don't care. I'm like, great. Thank you. I appreciate the support. We talk every week. He does check on me, but he's got better things to do, I guess. the way
He's not a very good communicator.
No.
He does like text messages like, yes, no.
Not even that, Gail. He's the type of person that texts the way he talks.
Yeah, yes.
So the fact that I understand his texts, I have to literally be like, what does my life come to that I know what you mean with these words that are a run-on sentence that don't make any sense, that he makes the like the sentence, it'll be 2 words and then the next line is the next 3 words. I'm like, how do you even do that?
You're in this deadpan voice with no emotion, just like blah, blah, blah,
no
blah,
emotion. It's quite literally insane. And I love him to death, but 99% of the time, I only understand what he's saying because I've had to be his producer for 5 years. You want to talk about hardships. If people want to know that
between him and Bubba,
but Bubba's not as bad. I will say, like,
I love Bubba.
I love him so much. I love him so much. People always get the impression of him too. Like, he's like, Gabby, everyone thinks I'm like me. I'm like, he's really not mean. He's one of those people where it's like, he's real as fuck. And he will tell you like, I don't like that or I like that. And people get mad about it. I appreciate it.
Like you said, we like direct,
Yeah.
right? That's why we all get along and we're on the same page. I love Bubba that we can just be, I mean, we can get into fights like, Rah! And then we won't talk and then we'll just be fine. And like, we just respect each other ultimately is the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
So, and even if I yell at him, he knows it's coming from a genuine place.
Yeah.
It's just real.
No, for sure. I can't yell at him because I used to basically have to work with him. So like I could never yell. Now I can because who gives a shit? Tommy would just take it and be like, okay, like he's the worst person to yell at. He doesn't even care.
Exactly.
But love them anyway. If you guys are listening, you're not. So we can talk shit. Yeah. But Gail, thank you so much. I know you're super busy. I appreciate you taking the time and being open and just being amazing as you are. And I love you so much. So thank you.
Oh, I want to talk about TNA Wrestling, August 30th, 31st in Louisville, Kentucky, Paristown. Hold on. I always forget what it's called.
Paristown.
Paristown Hall, I believe it's called.
Let me see. I'll look it up too. Old Foresters, Paristown Hall.
Paristown Hall,
yeah.
Yes. So August 30th, 31st, and you can get your tickets at TNAWrestling.com.
TNAWrestling.com. And make sure you watch TNA every Thursday. Definitely. If you're not, you're crazy because you never know who from NXT is going to pop up. You got to watch the Jordynne Ash matches. It's only getting better and it's only growing. So I think that if you're not watching TNA, I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, it's getting so good.
It's so good. And people like you are in the backs of it. So, I mean.
I'm trying. Yeah. Help run it.
We talk shit about Tommy, but he knows what he's doing too. So watch it.
Yes, he does. He knows a little.
Thank you so much, Gail. I love you. And I hope you enjoyed joining me today.
Thank you so much.
And everyone listening, we will be back next week with another episode of Gabby AF. So make sure you listen, be safe. And as always, LYMNB, love you most, no backs.